Many of you are burnt out on Overwatch, and as we wait for a lot of the content coming in Season 6, or if you just want something to play just in your downtime, here are 10 Overwatch replacements that you can play right now that still scratch the Overwatch itch in one way or another. Now before we get started, consider subscribing to my new gaming channel, where we do rants, news, hot takes, and everything in between on FPS games. You can check it out here, and let's jump into it. Now, there's actually two honorable mentions that I wanted to mention really quickly. One, because I haven't actually played the game, even though I really want to. And the other, because the game is about to come out, but not technically fully released yet. Number one is The Hunt Showdown, which is an extraction shooter mixed with horror elements, PvPvE, player versus enemy. And this is a game that's only on my honorable mentions because I haven't played it yet, even though it's been on my list forever. And they just broke their all-time peak players. And I have a ton of friends that play this game that swear to it. It has an incredibly high learning curve, so you're gonna have to grind it for a decent amount before you're good at all, and it kind of throws you to the deep waters right away. So if you're looking to replicate the frustration that you feel in your ranked games, no, I'm just joking, but I think The Hunt Showdown deserves an honorable mention. And then the second one is The Finals, which is a game that many players got early access to. I did not. The game looks insane. Teams of 3 try to extract. You get all kinds of diverse weaponry and diverse classes. Everything's destructible, and the game just looks like a whole bunch of freaking fun. I'm super excited when this game finally becomes open beta, or when this game finally full releases, because I would love to run this down with 2 other buddies. So it's an honorable mention. Keep it on your radar, but it's not quite fully out yet. Now, let's start off with number 10, and we have Paladins. And Paladins is for those of you who want to scratch a very similar itch to Overwatch, but just something different, something fresh. Paladins has a shit ton of characters, with over 60 freaking characters, and while yes, the game might not be as polished as Overwatch, it is nice to play something that is very Overwatch adjacent, but just different. You don't have to deal with Blizzard, you don't have to just kind of be annoyed with all the problems of Overwatch. You get to jump into something else, enjoy the game for what it is, and maybe you don't stick with the game for very long or forever, but at the very least you get a breath of fresh air. And I think that if you could hop onto Paladins with several of your buddies from Overwatch just for a day, just to have some fun in something completely different, have fun comparing all the differences or similarities between some of the characters between Paladins and Overwatch, I think it could be a pretty good time. And I do think that Paladins is worth at least a little play session if you've never touched it before. Now, the next game, number 9 on the list, is actually not even a shooter at all, a game that I'm madly addicted to right now, and that's Team Fight Tactics. Now, this game is kind of a card game, but also not. It's a strategy game that is made by Riot Games, not the only Riot title on this list, spoiler alert, but TFT is incredibly addictive and fun. It seems really complex at first, but once you get the hang of it, you really learn how to put comps together. It's like matching, but also outplaying enemies, building your own really powerful composition, creating characters that get to pop off in real time, and the game is also a entry into like the League of Legends universe, which I love the show Arcane, and I don't want to play League of Legends at all, so I play TFT instead. Now, definitely the coolest feature about TFT is you can actually go into ranked with 2 of your buddies. So 3 of y'all can go into ranked, but y'all are not playing on the same team. Y'all are playing against everyone in the lobby of 8. So you can not only try to succeed with your teammates, because if you place in top 4, you rank up in the ranked ladder, but you also get to sometimes destroy your teammates or destroy your friends, which is such a unique ranked experience, and it's incredibly fun. I think TFT is just a blast, and if you've never tried it before, I would highly suggest it. Now, moving on to number 8, we have Rainbow Six Siege, and this is just random. It's actually the Steam Summer Sale. This is not a sponsor. I just wanted to point it out, where it's actually a lot cheaper if you were interested. This is a class-based shooter, so there's a lot of classes in the game that all can do different things. This game is very high mechanical skill, but it does have a rather high learning curve. It's a game where sometimes the classes will feel a little bit like the heroes in Overwatch, or at least you'll get that feeling where it's like everyone does something different or has a different strength, but everyone is a freaking hit scan DPS. It's kind of what it feels like. And of course, there's more tactical elements to the game overall, and there's a meta and all that stuff, but really the game is for those of you who really like the hardcore elements of Overwatch. Maybe you're like a cast main or a soldier main, or maybe you're a pissed off Widow main, I don't really know, but whatever the case may be, I do think that Rainbow Six Siege is a game that is worth a try if you've never tried it. Now it's probably the best time because it is cheaper than ever. And moving on to number 7, this is Team Fortress 2. And this is the OG. This is the game that Overwatch and Paladins were based on completely. Team Fortress is a lot of fun, and there's a lot of people that have played Overwatch that have just never tried Team Fortress, which is just a tragedy because this was one of the most addicting games that I ever played when I was a kid. I played it on Xbox with the orange box, which was like this combination pack with Portal, and it had Half-Life on it, and it had Team Fortress 2, and I just played the freaking hell out of it. And honestly, yes, this game has aged. It's not as modern as it once was. The servers aren't necessarily as competitive. There's no support for the game anymore, but there's a ton of content, and there's a ton of fun to be had. Not to take it overly seriously, in my opinion, but just to go on it with a whole bunch of friends. Honestly, if you could run like a custom server in this with a whole bunch of people, if you had a server full of people, I think it would be a freaking grand time. I maybe will do that on my Discord. By the way, join my Discord down below. We might run events like that. But honestly, I do think that you should give Team Fortress 2 a try if you never played it before. That's just sacrilege. Being able to play the engineer, which is like Torb on crack, or you can play the spy, which there's nothing more satisfying than turning into an enemy, pretending to be them, like running the long con, and then stabbing multiple people in the back. It's just insane. Those of you who know, you know, and those of you who don't know, what are you doing? Go download Team Fortress right now. Now moving on to number 6, and if you are still into Blizzard titles, you're not that pissed at Blizzard, you just want to try something different, Diablo 4 is probably for you. I mean, this game is kind of blowing up right now, and yes, it does have some of the classic Blizzard problems, but really, this game is kind of a dub. It does a lot of things right compared to a lot of the old Diablos. It's stacked with content, and really, a lot of people are having a ton of fun with this game, and I think that while it is really easy to shit on Blizzard and their titles and everything like that, this game is definitely a freaking dub from Blizzard. I know, it's weird to say it, but it's a Blizzard dub. I know, it's kind of strange. But anyways, I think if you can get some buddies together, grind through this game, even grinding through it solo, it's definitely a game that's worth your time, and I think it's one of the most accessible dungeon crawlers that has probably been created. It's really good and easy for new players to kind of jump into it for the first time. But I will warn you, there's a good chance that if you try this game, you're gonna like it a bit too much, and then you're gonna lose all your free time. So, you know, if you got responsibilities and shit, probably don't play this game. Now, number 5 on the list is, I know, Valorant. Okay, I know, some of you are like, what the hell? You can skip this section, it's fine, go on to the next game. But yeah, Valorant is still an agent or a character shooter. There's a lot of unique characters. Some of them obviously take inspiration from Overwatch. It's the only other game on the list that dominates the Rule 34 genre. Okay, all right. But all joking aside, Valorant is definitely an acquired taste. But I do think that if you give it a shot and you start to learn the game a bit more, it's actually fairly fun. I was someone that was kind of locked into Valorant jail for a while. I made content about the game for quite some time as part of my job, and I didn't love the game. Of course, I prefer games with faster movement like Overwatch. I still think that there is nothing quite like clutching up an ace by yourself. There's a draw to being able to put that much agency on your back, and it's really, really cool sometimes to have a slower tempoed game that focuses more on your minor decisions throughout the game, where a game like Overwatch and some of these other games have so much going on all the time that it sometimes becomes a bit overwhelming. I do think that Valorant can be fun with friends, or if you're into really competitive games. The clutch moments are super, super hype, and I think it's worth a try if you haven't tried it, or if you have, but you haven't played it in a long time. They have added quite a few new features, including a new team deathmatch mode, which is actually really fun to play and doesn't take as goddamn long as the normal 50-minute game of Valorant, so that's nice. Now, number 4 is one that's completely out of left field, okay? This is completely out of left field, but this is Magic the Gathering Arena. And this is a legit card game. And I know some of you are going to be like, what the hell, Mills? Why are you putting Magic the Gathering in this? But honestly, this is what I got my start on. Magic the Gathering is like the reason that I'm a creator or a coach today. It's what I played when I was a kid. I used to travel and participate in tournaments. And honestly, the Magic the Gathering Arena, which is the new online version of the game, is honestly just better than ever. It's super crisp, the animations are fire, and right now, the Lord of the Rings collaboration set just released, which is the coolest fucking set of all time. Lord of the Rings meets Magic the Gathering, come on. Just go try it. I think you'll have a lot more fun than you'll initially think. It's actually really addictive when you get the hang of it. Maybe a little bit too addictive. They do call it cardboard crack for a reason, so maybe I shouldn't suggest to you Magic the Gathering. But anyway, it's too late. Number 3 on the list is a game called Apex Legends. You probably never heard of it before, but it's a character shooter as well, but it's also a battle royale, and this game is definitely a blast. It's crispy gunplay, nice movement, really diverse characters, and I think this game pretty much checks a lot of the boxes for those of you who like battle royales. My personal opinion is I'm not the biggest fan of battle royales from a competitive point of view, so when I'm trying to get really competitive, I would much rather play a game like Overwatch. But from a casual point of view, being able to jump into Apex with some friends is really, really fun. You get to pop off, get a lot of kills. Every game is different. There's clutch moments. There's a lot to love about Apex, I think, from someone just trying it for the first time. And this is the game that I would really suggest you play and try, especially if you haven't played it for a while. It's a lot different, and it changes quite often. I do think that Apex is pretty fun, has quite a few features. And while I do think that some of you that hard grind this game might have some problems or some frustrations with this game right now, that's not going to be true from anyone trying the game for the first time. It's all going to just be good stuff for them. So yeah, I would highly suggest you try it if you're looking for an alternative to Overwatch. This is probably the closest to it, if I'm being honest, that is in the mainstream. The next up, number 2, we got to talk about CounterStrike GO. Now, I do understand that Counter-Strike's an OG. A lot of you have already played it, but there's no better time to try Counter-Strike for the first time or really start to play it than now, when Counter-Strike 2 is like just around the corner. Counter-Strike is breaking records, and Counter-Strike's going to only get bigger going into Counter-Strike 2. So I know that Counter-Strike is a daunting game. You got to learn all this stuff, but really, if you're going to learn it, now's the time, because you're not really going to get another opportunity to join the game with such a huge influx of new players like you will with the launch of Counter-Strike 2. I do think that this game has some of the crispiest gunplay ever. It's super smooth, no lag, and there's something really nice about the fact that it's not really a live service game or a game that gets constant updates. It's not really a game that really plays into the live service. I mean, Valve is like that father figure that went for the milk and never came back. I mean, they finally did for CSGO 2, but it's been like a fucking long ass time. But really, you get the idea where it's kind of like Counter-Strike has just been doing its own thing, and it's been fun, and people have been playing it since the dawn of time. There's no reason not to at least try it, jump on it with your friends. I think you're gonna have a lot of fun. So yeah, highly suggest Counter-Strike. Now, the last game that I will suggest in this video, and this is kind of completely out of left field, but I think this is probably the best game on the list you can play right now, is actually Battlebit Remastered. Now, this is a bit version of Battlefield, or at least pseudo-Battlefield. It reminds you a lot of classic Battlefield. There's huge servers, 256 player servers where you can have huge warfare. It's crispy. It plays on a goddamn toaster. There's a buy once and you don't have to keep constantly buying new stuff. It's a game that's just a game, and I really do feel like this game is the antithesis of everything that live service is doing right now. Like, honestly, supporting this game is like being anti-live service, which is really what we're kind of pissed off about all these freaking free-to-play games that are just like, hey, you get the game, but here's all this stuff that we're going to throw in your face. Buy this, buy that. Oh, by the way, here's a little bit of Overwatch. You can have a little bit of Overwatch campaign. Okay, I'm not going to get too tilted right now, but Battlebit is a breath of fresh air. It's a sick-ass game. I would highly, highly, highly suggest you check it out if you're interested in modern shooters at all, or even if you're not. I think you could have a lot of fun in this game. There's vehicles, there's weapons, there's classes. You're going to have a blast playing this game, so I would really suggest it. And honestly, I would suggest you try all of these games at one point or another. Definitely play them with friends. Maybe you're going to go right back to Overwatch. Maybe these are just going to be games that you play with some groups of friends. But every single one of these games I do think has value and is worth at least giving a shot to. But let me know what game you're grinding besides Overwatch in the comments down below. And please check out my FPS non-Overwatch gaming channel right here and subscribe to it so that I can get it monetized as quickly as possible. Thank you so much for coming by. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.